Deep in the heart of the Brazilian rainforest, where the trees reach the heavens and the rivers snake through the lush greenery, lived a tiny bird named Pipoca. She was a small, unassuming sparrow. Her feathers a blend of earthy browns and soft whites, perfectly camouflaged in her surroundings. Pipoca was not the fastest flyer, nor the most colorful bird in the forest, but she had a heart full of curiosity and a dream to see the world beyond her small nest. Pipoca lived with her family in a cozy nest high in a tree, overlooking a beautiful stretch of the Amazon River. Her parents were content with their lives in the forest, happy to live quietly among the trees. But Pipoca was different. She often listened to the stories told by the older birds' tales of great rivers, vast cities, and endless skies. These stories filled Pipoca with a longing for adventure, a desire to explore the world beyond the canopy. Her parents, however, were cautious. "The world is dangerous, Pipoca," her mother would say. "There are predators, storms, and places where a small bird like you could get lost." But Pipoca couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more out there, something she needed to find for herself. One morning, as the sun rose over the rainforest, casting a golden hue across the trees, Pipoca noticed something strange. Far in the distance, beyond the edge of the forest, a plume of smoke curled into the sky. It was unlike anything she had seen before, and her curiosity was piqued. Without thinking twice, Pipoca decided that this was the sign she had been waiting for. She spread her wings and, with a fluttering heart, took off towards the smoke, leaving her family and the safety of the nest behind. As Pipoca flew further from her home, she marveled at the sights below her. The Amazon River sparkled like a ribbon of silver, winding its way through the vast expanse of green. She flew over waterfalls that thundered into deep pools and past animals she had only heard about in stories: jaguars stalking silently through the underbrush, capybaras lounging by the riverbanks, and monkeys chattering in the trees. But the further she flew, the more challenging the journey became. The forest thinned out, replaced by open plains and patches of farmland. The sky, once filled with the sounds of the forest, grew quieter, and Pipoca began to feel the strain of her flight. But she pushed on, driven by the desire to discover what lay beyond. As Pipoca approached the source of the smoke, she realized it was coming from a small village nestled at the edge of the forest. It was a place unlike any she had seen before, with people bustling about, tending to crops and animals. The air was filled with the scent of cooking fires and the sound of laughter. But there was something else, a sense of tension, as if the village was on edge. Pipoca landed on the branch of a tall tree overlooking the village, her wings aching from the long flight. From her perch, she could see the villagers gathered around a central fire, talking animatedly. She didn't understand their language, but she could tell something was wrong. The villagers were pointing towards the forest, their faces filled with worry. Curious, Pipoca flew closer, perching on the roof of a small house to listen. She soon realized what the villagers were concerned about. A large predatory bird had been spotted near the village, and it had been terrorizing the people and their animals. The villagers were afraid for their livestock and for their children, who could easily become targets for the bird. Pipoca's heart sank. She had come all this way to find adventure, but instead, she found fear and danger. The thought of facing a predator made her small wings tremble, but she knew she couldn't turn back now. The village needed help, and she was the only one who could provide it. Determined to do something, Pipoca began to search for the predator. She flew over the village and into the surrounding forest, using her keen eyes to scan the ground below. It wasn't long before she spotted a large harpy eagle, perched on a tree branch, its sharp eyes fixed on the village. The harpy eagle was an imposing sight, with powerful talons and a wingspan that dwarfed Pipoca's own. It was clear that this bird was a formidable hunter, and Pipoca felt a pang of fear as she realized how small she was in comparison. But she also knew that she couldn't let the eagle continue to threaten the village. Pipoca had to think fast. She was no match for the harpy eagle in a direct confrontation, but she was quick and clever. She needed a plan, something that would distract the eagle and lead it away from the village. As she watched the eagle, an idea began to form. Pipoca noticed a flock of parrots flying nearby, their bright colors catching the eagle's attention. She knew that parrots were a favorite prey of the eagle, and she could use that to her advantage. Taking a deep breath, Pipoca flew down to the parrots, chirping loudly to get their attention. She told them of her plan to lure the eagle away from the village by leading it on a chase through the forest. The parrots, though initially hesitant, agreed to help, understanding the danger posed to the village. With the plan in place, Pipoca and the parrots set off, flying in a tight formation. They swooped low over the trees, making sure the eagle could see them. Sure enough, the harpy eagle took the bait, launching itself into the air and giving chase. Pipoca led the way, darting through the trees with the parrots following close behind. The eagle was fast, but Pipoca was faster, using her small size to weave through the dense foliage. She led the eagle on a wild chase, zigzagging through the forest and over rivers, all the while keeping just out of reach. The chase was exhausting, and Pipoca's wings began to ache from the effort. But she couldn't stop now. The village depended on her. She pushed herself to fly faster, dodging branches and darting through gaps in the trees. The parrots, too, did their part, distracting the eagle and keeping it focused on the chase. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Pipoca saw her chance. She led the eagle towards a steep cliff that overlooked a deep canyon. At the last moment, she and the parrots veered sharply to the side, leaving the eagle to plunge towards the canyon. The eagle tried to stop its descent, but it was too late. It was forced to pull up, abandoning the chase and flying away from the village. Exhausted but triumphant, Pipoca and the parrots returned to the village. The people who had watched the chase from afar erupted in cheers as they realized that the threat was gone. Pipoca, the small, unassuming sparrow, had saved the day. Word of Pipoca's bravery spread quickly through the village. The people were amazed that such a small bird had taken on a powerful predator and won. They welcomed Pipoca as a hero, offering her food and a safe place to rest. But Pipoca didn't linger. She knew that her journey wasn't over. There was still so much of the world to see, and she wasn't ready to return home just yet. She thanked the villagers for their kindness and set off once more, her heart filled with pride and a newfound sense of confidence. As she flew over the rainforest, Pipoca marveled at how much she had grown since leaving her nest. She had faced her fears, protected those in need, and discovered that even the smallest of creatures could make a big difference. Pipoca's journey took her to many more places across Brazil. She flew over the sprawling Pantanal wetlands, where she marveled at the diverse wildlife. She soared above the vibrant city of Rio de Janeiro, with its iconic Christ the Redeemer statue and bustling beaches. She even visited the tower in Iguazu Falls, where the thundering water filled her with awe. Everywhere she went, Pipoca met new friends and faced new challenges. But no matter how difficult the journey became, she never forgot the lessons she had learned in that small village at the edge of the forest. She knew that bravery wasn't about being the biggest or the strongest, it was about having the courage to do what was right, no matter how scared you might be. And so, Pipoca, the little bird with big dreams, continued her journey through Brazil. She flew with a heart full of hope, knowing that the world was full of wonders waiting to be discovered. She was no longer just a small bird in a big world. She was a hero, an adventurer, and an underdog who had proven that even the smallest among us could soar to great heights.